Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Everyday. I'm your host, Wendy, and today we're continuing last week's conversation where I shared 10 habits to stop. And wow, so many of you reached out, shared your takeaways, and told me which habits really hit home. I love how willing this community is to grow and let go of what no longer serves us. So today I'm diving deeper with 7 more habits to stop. And this time I'm pairing each one with a powerful habit to start instead. Because it's not just about stopping, it's about choosing differently. Let's think of this episode as a loving invitation to take inventory, to pause and reflect on where your energy is going, and to ask, is this still working for me? Ready? Let's begin. The first habit, stop multitasking. We often believe multitasking is a strength, like something to brag about. I'm answering my emails, cooking dinner, and on a Zoom call. Sound familiar? But here's the truth. Multitasking scatters your energy. It pulls your attention in 10 different directions, and none of them get your full self. I spent years multitasking. I was proving to myself how much I could get done in a day and how many things I could do all at the same time. I remember a time when I was making dinner, replying to texts, answering the front doorbell, helping my son with his homework, and I ended up completely burning the dinner. I wasn't able to keep track of how much time I was putting to all of these things I was doing at once. But when you choose presence instead, you can feel more peace. And that's what I choose to do now. Instead, I want you to start doing one thing with presence. Presence is powerful. When you give one thing your attention, your child, your work project, cooking dinner, even just brushing your teeth, your nervous system calms, your results improve, and your sense of peace expands. What I want you to do is shift your mindset. Replace, I need to do it all with, I choose to be here now. Try this week when you're doing something, just do that. You'll be surprised by how good it feels to be where you are. Habit number 2, stop worrying. Worry loves to disguise itself as preparation. It whispers, if I think about this long enough, I'll feel better. But worry often leads us in circles and keeps us stuck in anxiety and paralysis. Here's what I want you to know. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to trust yourself to handle it. Try this. The next time you find yourself spiraling in worry, ask, what's in my control now? And then do that. This habit shift isn't about never feeling anxious. It's about moving rumination into reconnection with your own strength. I love this quote by Dan Zadra. Worry is a misuse of the imagination. Trusting yourself and handling what's in your control is a practice. It's not a feeling. Habit number 3, stop overworking. We've been taught that hustle equals worth, that pushing harder means we're doing better. But at what cost? Overworking numbs you. It disconnects you from your body, your relationships, and your creativity. And here's what I've learned. Your worth is not tied to your output. This week, I want you to notice your limits and honor them. That might look like closing your laptop at 5 o'clock instead of pushing to 7. It might mean turning down a request because your plate is full. It might just mean resting without guilt. Let this be your reminder. Rest is productive, and your energy is not infinite. It's precious. Protect it. Slowing down is strength. There was a time where I always said yes to my boss. I had no work boundaries. I would work late because he asked me to. Eventually, I was exhausted. I drove home in a daze. And one day I was driving home and I passed a yoga studio and I began taking yoga to release the stress that had built up from years of not protecting my boundaries. I instantly had a boost in my creativity at work. I was sleeping better and my health improved. I want to invite you to notice what you say yes to out of habit versus intention. Honor your limits. Habit number 4, stop people pleasing. People pleasing feels safe at first. We say yes to be liked, to avoid conflict, to keep the peace. But over time, we begin to disappear. We lose touch with what we need, what we value. So here's your shift. Please yourself. Please your soul. Ask yourself, what do I want? What decision feels aligned with who I'm becoming? Am I doing this out of love or out of fear? You don't want to keep making everyone happy. You want to make yourself whole again. This might mean saying no or saying yes to something unexpected or changing your mind. You weren't born to keep everyone else comfortable. You were born to live in alignment with your truth. I invite you to say no without explanation once this week and see how it feels. Tell yourself, when I say no to others, I say yes to myself. Habit number 5, stop perfectionism. If you've ever said, I'll start when it's perfect, I see you. I used to be her too. Perfectionism kept me stuck. I didn't launch things until they were just right, which usually meant I didn't launch at all. But here's what I've learned. Progress is where the magic is. When you let go of the pressure to be perfect, you give yourself permission to grow. Start messy, show up anyway. That's where confidence is built, not from getting it right, but from being in motion. Let yourself be a beginner. Try something new. It's brave. It's beautiful. It's enough. For many years, I thought it would be so cool to have a podcast, but I wasn't ready. I wanted to make sure that this was perfect before I ever started. And I'll tell you what, it's far from perfect. And I'm so glad I began this journey a little over 2 years ago. I want to encourage you and remind you that progress is always better than perfection because it moves you forward. Habit number 6, stop tolerating toxic relationships. We all have people in our lives who drain us. Maybe it's subtle, constant negativity, passive aggression, disrespect, or maybe it's loud, manipulation, control, or repeated harm. Here's the truth. You don't have to keep making room for people who treat you poorly. Start choosing relationships that feel mutual, that makes you feel safe, seen, and strong, that reminds you who you are, not who you're trying to prove yourself to be. You're allowed to outgrow relationships that no longer serve you. You're allowed to protect your peace. Start cultivating nourishing connections and ask yourself, who do I feel most like myself around? And who drains my light? Habit number 7, stop living on autopilot. This might be the most important one of all. When you live on autopilot, your days blur together. You react instead of respond. You end up somewhere and wonder how you got there. But you get to choose again. Start living with intention. Ask yourself, what kind of life am I creating? What really matters to me? What small decision today can help me live on purpose? Maybe it's getting outside, making time for joy, saying no to things that drain you, or starting a morning ritual that grounds you. Remember, those small choices add up. Rather than defaulting, start designing your life on purpose. Stopping these habits isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's about creating space for peace, joy, and purpose. Every time you choose presence over multitasking, trust over worry, boundaries over burnout, you're rewriting the story of who you are becoming. You're not broken, you're becoming, and every small shift matters. Remember, you're not your habits, you're not stuck, and you're always allowed to grow, to shift, and to try again. This week, choose one of these habits to stop and one new way of being to start. Write it down, say it out loud, practice it in small ways. And when you choose this habit and the new habit that replaces it, please DM me or tag me on Instagram to share. I would love to hear from you. And if this episode resonated, share it with someone you love. Let's grow together. Next week, I'm going to flip the focus and bring you an episode called Habits to Start Creating a Life You Love on Purpose. It's going to be filled with small but big things to build into your life to support the extraordinary in your everyday. Until then, friends, be kind to yourself. You're doing the work. You're showing up. And I'm cheering you on every step of the way. You mean so much to me. I appreciate you. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. And until next time, take care and bye-bye. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.